What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be reviewing the Pixel 6 Pro. Been a little delayed, unfortunately. Things happen in life that I just couldn't get to it. However, I do want to mention a couple of things about this Pixel, and this is going to be the full review for my Pixel usage in 2021 to 2022. And I have a couple of comparisons that I have to make to the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So I'm going to keep that alongside. Second thing I wanted to note, my iPhone is not cracked. That is actually the screen protector. I do work on cars and stuff, and it cracks pretty much all the time. So that's that. Moving on, here is the Pixel. I have a Spigen clear case. It will run you about, I think, $12.99. It's a really cheap case, and it works. It's a kind of a hard shell, and it's also like, you know, kind of like flimsy at the same time. Like this upper part is kind of like silicone-y, but over here is just, it's hard plastic, hard glass plastic. And there is no yellowing on the side or anything. I've had this pretty much since the day I got the Pixel, which is about 3 weeks ago now. And it's definitely holding up. It's holding itself. It's holding its own. For $12.99, I can't complain. Now my cat is, you might see him. He's gonna be walking towards me most likely. But if you hear a bell walking around, that's him. Anyways, moving on, we're gonna talk about the Pixel. This is it. Here is the Pixel 6 Pro. That camera visor is dirty. Okay, so the first thing I want to mention is the fingerprint reader. That is one thing, it seems to be a controversy to everybody. And I need to mention to you guys, the fingerprint reader on this phone is really not as bad as people are making it. It really is not that bad. Oh, there's my cat. Is he in the frame? He kind of is. There he is. He's bumping the mic. He's bumping the camera. There he is. Okay. You guys can see him. There he is. He wants pets, I think. Oh, you guys hear his purrs? This turned from a Pixel review to a cat review. Real quick, I don't know if he's gonna allow me to continue. Are you gonna allow me to continue this review? I don't know. This changed real quick. Okay, so he's on the side. In case you guys are wondering why there's so much white fur, now you know. He's not gonna let me review this phone. This is it's already 5 minutes in, and we haven't even started. Okay, so I moved you guys to the side. He might actually end up just sitting there. So anyways, continuing on to the review. You guys can see his paws right here. He's right there. Anyways, so continuing on to the review of the Pixel 6 Pro. This has the Tensor chip. The Tensor chip is a AI-based chip. It literally, its sole purpose is to learn how you use the phone and adapt to you. It's all about machine learning. It's literally its key function. That's why when you first get the phone, the battery life is usually pretty bad. It does not last that long. Now, in my opinion, the iPhone, he's actually sitting on the iPhone. The iPhone's right here. He's sitting on it. But the iPhone is, in my opinion, the absolute king of battery. I still think it's actually better than this. This is not far off of it though. This, I believe, is a second runner-up to the battery contestants. Like, in terms of overall battery usage, I believe this is the second best one. Because, like I said, the Tensor chip, it adapts to how you use it. So for me, I use it. Oh my God, he got, you know, he's invested into you guys than, you know, I don't know. Anyways, he's more invested into the camera than anything else. I think he knows he's on camera. Pixel starts to really make sense. Why everything right out the box is sort of a little iffy, but then after, like, in my case, 3 weeks, it starts to really sharpen up. It really starts to show its true colors. Now, what I realized about this fingerprint reader is that it kind of learned over time your fingerprint. I don't know how to describe it quite yet, but what I'm saying is, like, it kind of learned it. Like, for me, like right there, I've never had an issue with the fingerprint reader. Like right here, I'm just showing you guys, it's really not that bad. The Tensor chip kind of learned how you position your finger, and it just, it learned from that. And I don't know, it knows your fingerprint reader, and then the tensor chip learns how you put your finger down. And then it learns like, okay, this is how, like right there, it didn't work right there. But then if I do it again right there, it's like it learns how I put my fingerprint onto the reader. I don't know if you guys are seeing it or if he's blocking. I think he's blocking everything. Yeah, he is. His big head is, oh my God, his big head is the entire frame. All right, so I moved you guys again because his big head was in the frame. He was blocking it. But again, the fingerprint reader works 100% of the time. I feel like it really does adapt to the way you put your finger on it. He's gonna play with that. Please don't. Okay, so he's gonna sit with us, and he's gonna be in the review. I don't know. I really don't know. He's just gonna sit here. He's gonna be in the review. Anyways, yeah, the fingerprint reader, I really have no time. Like, it rarely, very rarely does it not work. It usually works all the time. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the overall battery life. Like I said, now that he's not sitting on the on the iPhone, this is still the king. I think there's no other battery life better than the iPhone. I struggle to kill this sometimes in a day. This I can kill in a day. It's like, if you put enough like emphasis on that processor, it will die in a day. I do Uber Eats on the side, and I do it back and forth. I do it for about approximately, I would say like 4 to 5 hours. And I can go from 100% on this phone, and by the end of my like 5th or 4th hour, I would be at like, I would say maybe like 20%. Where on the iPhone, I'd be like maybe 60% or 70%. It's really that different. Even after it adapted to the way I use the phone, the battery life is still not as good as the iPhone, like not even close. But I would still rate it as the second best battery life of 2021. Next thing I do have to mention is the software. The software, Android 12, it's good. It's really good. You guys can see how smooth it is. Everything had a little bit of a hesitation. I haven't started up the Pixel in a minute, but the feed is just the overall usage of iOS 12. Android 12 is butter. Is the best way I can describe Android 12 is just, this is butter. It's so smooth. I love iOS. I keep saying iOS. I love Android 12. Android 12 it's legit. It knocked it out of the park in terms of smoothness. You can tell like the key focus for this Android update was optimization and smoothness, like simplicity, because that was one of the things that I feel like it was kind of lacking. Okay, all right. All right, cool, Cream Puff. He put his paw on me, but I feel like the one of the things that it was kind of lacking on Android was the simplicity and like just the ease of use. And you can tell that they really kind of emphasized it on here. Like, just for example, like the quick toggles before, they would be like little tiny icons, but now they're big, massive, all the ones that you need. And you can also adjust the whatever you want to put here. Like, you go to the little pencil and you can drag whatever you want to put there. And then you also have different pages and stuff like that. For me, I always go to here. This is where I can adjust the AC and the heater for the house, and I can adjust the house controls, the lights and all that stuff. All that I can do from here, and it's super cool. And then over here you have the Google Pay. If whatever store supports Google Pay, you just tap it, and so on and so forth, and just hold to the reader. Really nice little things, and you can really tell that this was emphasized on simplicity. The next thing is, you can see you have alarms right here. You go ahead and you can set an alarm just like that, super quick. And then you also have do not disturb, which you also have the ability, which is a quick gesture. If you were to flip your phone, you turn it off and you flip it upside down, it'll silence everything. Everything's a do not disturb except your favorites or the people that you allow to bypass do not disturb. It's a really cool feature, and it will actually notify you. It'll vibrate when it does go into do not disturb. When you do go it this way, if you flip it this way, it'll vibrate, and that's when you'll know. Like, actually right now it just vibrated. and it let me know that it was in Do Not Disturb. And when I lift it up again, it vibrates again, and it tells me that it's not in it anymore. So the next thing is I gotta talk about the tensor chip itself. The tensor chip, again, like I said, it's all based on optimization, how you use it. And I realize it tends to struggle in this one key area. And that is pretty much when you give it like some pretty demanding tasks and you go from back to back to back, like let's say Lightroom. If I go to my Lightroom profile, I don't know if it's gonna do it right now, but let's say, let's go to my Lightroom right now. Here's my Lightroom profile. Lightroom is a pretty heavy demanding app because it's loading a whole bunch of raw images. Here's my M3. These are all raw photos, and it's loading it just like pretty much off the cloud, and these are all raw photos. And then you go from here, like you see how it's taking a minute to load, it's going based off the internet. Now, where it does start to use your CPU on the phone, like where it starts to use the processor, let's say this image, now it's going to load it. It's using, now right now it was using the Wi-Fi to load the actual picture. Now when you go into presets, now it's using the tensor chip. Now it's like, okay, now we want to adjust it to this, or we want to adjust it to this, you know what I'm saying? Like now it's using the tensor chip. And now if you were to go into another heavy demanding app, like right here, you see it was struggling a little bit to get out of there because it's a pretty heavy app. Let's just go to the weather app. The weather app is not really that intensive, but I don't know. Twitch is a pretty intensive app. Twitch seems to be pretty intensive. We go from here, we go back to here. Like it seems smooth, but what tends to happen on occasion, it obviously when I try to show the video, it doesn't work. But what happens is it seems like the chip tends to get very frustrated. And what I mean by that is like the UI tends to just get funky. What I mean by that is like you see how the navigation bar is down here? I think you guys can see it. If you guys don't, the navigation bar is right here. The swipe up gesture right here, it's right here. What you can do from here, what happens is that this tends to get stuck in landscape, or it tends to get stuck on this side, or sometimes the screen just doesn't work, or sometimes like it's not responsive. It gets frustrated. All you gotta do is just lock it and unlock it again. It usually goes back to normal. But there have been occasions that I have to reset the phone and then it goes back to normal. But the chip is definitely, when it comes to like going from heavy demanding app to another heavy demanding app, and like let's say if you go from there to like a YouTube app, you go to a YouTube app, a full-blown video, it definitely struggles there. The iPhone doesn't struggle there. Like you can go back and forth between apps all the time. Occasionally it will crash, but it won't, like the UI will never pretty much, like the UI doesn't flip out. This though, the UI tends to flip out. Now the next thing I want to talk about is the pretty much the side buttons. The side buttons are very awkwardly placed. It is a very awkward placement, and there's solutions in the software which kind of indicate that Google knew what they were doing, but they just did it anyway. So what I mean by that is, let me just go ahead and demonstrate it real quick. So to power it off, you would think just press and hold the power button, except that's Google Assistant. I mean, all right, whatever. It's the same thing with the iPhone. However, the iPhone, it's very easy to turn it off because both buttons are relatively easy to hold. It's power up and the power. It's the volume up and the power button. And the Pixel is the same thing. However, to get to it, you guys can see my finger, I have to hold the phone in a relatively weird way, and there it goes. There's the quick toggles right there. You can do it with one hand. However, there's a little gap between the two, and it's very, very hard to press both of them at the same time. It's very weird to press them both at the same time. You can do it, but the thing is you have to press both of them at the same time. And what tends to usually happen is you either press the volume button first or the power button first. It's very hard to press them both at the same time. However, like I said, Google has thought of that. And which kind of makes me think that Google knew about putting this here and people are just going to be annoyed by it. So when you go down to the quick toggles, you have the power off button right here. Google knew that people were going to get frustrated about that. Now, to take screenshots is also, it's actually more awkward than the power off button. I know, it's just, how can they, I don't know. But again, Google thought of it, and it also kind of makes me think of the same thing. Like, they knew people are gonna get annoyed by it, they did it anyway. So, take screenshot, it's the same thing, except volume down. So you do that, and then there's a screenshot. However, Google has a quick toggle, which you can enable. I don't believe it's enabled out of the box, but once you enable it, you place your hand pretty much like a slight bit above the GU logo, and you double tap it. Actually, it doesn't work right there. It didn't work right there. There it is. There you go. There's your screenshot. It worked right there. But, you know, you gotta find the sweet spot. But once you do, once you get used to it, you'll get to it. You'll pretty much nail it down. But I use that way more than I use the, like, if I'm holding my phone like this, like if you're right-handed, you're not taking a screenshot, bro. It's just not working. If you're left-handed, maybe. But if you're right-handed, taking a screenshot with one thumb is just, you can't do it. But again, you just double tap it on the back. There you go. Again, Google thought of it, and they just did it anyway. Why couldn't they just put the volume button on this side and, you know, just use your index finger? You could also do the same thing with the left hand, you know, up and down, you know what I'm saying? Like, for the iPhone, here's the screenshot, and then here's the power off, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can do it. And then left hand, you can also do it here, 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 here. You know what I'm saying? It's very easy. Why they didn't do it? Beyond me. Google makes some weird hardware choices, but that's cool. Anyways, moving on, we gotta talk about the cameras. You can't talk about a Pixel without talking about the cameras. Of course, we're gonna get into the cameras. And so with that being said, let's go to the camera. Okay, so now you guys saw, those were all shot on the Pixel. And I took all these photos of the M3 with the sunlight behind it. I absolutely not edited on the Pixel. And they are incredible. You would think they came from my camera, but they didn't. They came from the Pixel. This camera is a monster. A straight up monster. It's so good. And I love the feature, the magic eraser feature. You see how there's the sewer drain right here? You don't want it in your picture. You just press the edit button. Go to tools, magic eraser. I think it'll automatically, no, it didn't. It didn't even detect it. But basically you just draw a circle around that little pothole, the sewer drain, and it's gone. It's gone. And you know, when you zoom into the photo, you can obviously tell how they did it, but it's very hard to tell. If you're uploading this to Instagram, where they kind of like butcher the quality a little bit, they're not gonna know. They're not gonna even know that the drain was there to begin with. And like, it's just, like, you can't even tell. It's like, it's so good. It's really good. And then here's a little bit of a video. The stabilization is really well. I'm like shaking it up and down and stuff just to test it, see how it does. And you can see the dynamic range is all good. It's capturing the sun, it's capturing the M3, it's capturing the skies, everything spot on, super good. The last thing I want to talk about the Pixel, and you guys probably know what it is or probably don't know what it is, I don't know, but it is, when you get a Google phone, you get Google Assistant. And I don't gotta mention how good Google Assistant is, especially compared to Siri. It is a night and day difference. Google Assistant, in my opinion, is not only the smartest, but the most useful Assistant that you can get. Google Assistant is by far the best one. Like, it's just, there is no matching Google Assistant. Now I'm gonna give you guys a super brief demonstration of what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead. Now I can't say, hey Siri, because I have HomePods here, and you know, it's gonna trigger and all that stuff. So I'm gonna press and hold it for here. What's the weather right now?
It's currently clear and 63 degrees.
Okay, 63 degrees, cool, right? All right, hey Google, what's the weather right now?
It's 62 and sunny. Today, it'll be partly cloudy with a high of 70 and a low of 41.
You see the difference? There is a whole different layer to Google. Anyways, that is going to end my review of the Google 6 Pro. This is my review of it. Cream Puff, he approves of it. Do you approve of it? Do you approve of the Pixel? Yeah, he does. He approves of it so much, he wants to keep. Look at that. He's like, yeah, the Pixel's mine. It's not yours anymore. It's mine. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Catch you guys later in the next one. Peace.